Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Mr. Drone. This is a guide to Mr. Drone's drawing key. Actually, I wanted to work on some project related to aircrafts, and you will need this drawing key in the future if you're working on that. So I wanted to have a guide on this drawing key so that you people could understand that. So this is our drawing key, and there are different line types in here, and the foam board is represented in there. So the first one is a simple cut. If you've got a straight line and there is nothing special in that, like it is not, the other lines are different. So if there is a straight line, it means you have to cut the foam board. Actually, I've marked all of these different lines representation on this foam board, so it will help you out good. The first one is a 50% score cut. So let's take our blade, and the 50% score cuts means that you have to cut the foam board half. Like, you don't have to go through the foam board, you just have to cut half of it. So just take your scale and just if you can manage the blade so that you can open it all, or if you can't manage, just take its tip out so that you can't go through the foam board, and just simply have a slight cut. So I haven't gone through actually the foam board completely. I just cut it half of it. So when do you need that? Sometimes like you need to bend it like this. For example, like this, you are making a wing and you want to bend it, so that's why you need half score cut, 50% score cut. And the next one is the crease. Crease is actually the kind of, you put the foam board into it, like you just press the foam board, a part of the foam board where you have got a line. Here I've got the crease representation. Like on the crease you have got the top and bottom of the line complete, and the middle of the line you have got dashed line. So for crease you don't need a razor blade, you don't have to cut it, you just need a kind of like a smooth or rounded kind of surface, and smooth rounded kind of thing. So you just put your scale and you just make a kind of like you push the foam board into it. Like here I just got that paper, so I got the ballpoint tip actually out of it, and you just have to like press the foam board down. You just have to go through it a few times. You don't have to tear the foam board actually. So here you have got an idea that you just pressed a part of the foam board, so that is actually a crease. And it also like you can bend the foam board, it won't break from this side, or so it is quite easy to bend the foam board, that part of the foam board. The next one is a 45-degree bevel edge. For the 45-degree bevel edge, you'll have a dashed line on the sides and also in the middle, and you've got like this kind of spikes in between both of these lines. I marked also the 45-degree bevel edge in here, and for this one I use two methods. Like for the first one, you just have to like score cut the middle line like this. You have to score cut the middle line, and then you just have to like put this foam board on 180 degrees, and you just open your blade and you like go through it. Try not to cut the paper in between these two, and like I can do it like better when I just put this foam board on a table side, but right now I'm just holding this one in my hand, so just like this. So now we have got a 45-degree bevel, and like you can just bend it like this. You can use that one in your elevons or hinges, so ailerons or ailerons hinges, so that will work better. You can also have this kind of cut like in a different method. I just folded it over on 180 degrees and then cut it down. You can also have it like if you just have to like cut this part and this part in between these two parts. You just have to make a double bevel or a single bevel too on 45 degrees. So you just have to cut the center part and then take your razor blade and just cut it over. That is quite a little bit difficult, but if you just don't have the option to bend this foam board on 180 degrees, then you can do that like this and just like this. So you can just pop these out now and you have got a kind of one like a bevel edge, but it is better to use the first method. The next one is 45 degree single bevel. It is just similar to that, but you just have to cut one side of that. So you just have to score cut the center line or one side of a line. Just fold the foam on 180 degrees and you can cut, like open your blade and here you have got single bevel edge, like it represents as it represents in the drawing. The next one is an edged bevel. Actually, the edged bevel is used in the edges of the ailerons or any control surface. So you just have to take your foam board, I marked it here as it is in the drawing, and you can have just your razor blade and cut that out. And if it is not smooth, you can just smoothen it out on sandpaper, or you can you can do it like a smooth or a nice cut on your razor blade. That is also good, but I mostly use the sandpaper for this purpose. In some methods I just peel off the paper from some part of it and then I just sand the edge out and you'll have a nice beveled edge. Now the next one is the cavity. For cavity, you just have dotted lines on the side and then crosses in between those two lines. And for cavity, you just have to cut cut the whole two side lines. You don't have to go through the foam board, and like you don't have to cut the paper, the side of the paper. You just have to cut these score cut. You can also do score cut when you just fold it over, then you'll have like you can just fold it and the other side too, like this, and then you can just take this side off it. Like you just take this side off and you have got a cavity, like this, a complete cavity, and you can bend this or anything like that. So that was about cavity. The next one is remove paper. For remove paper, you have just got a dotted surface and you have to remove paper from that place like this. You can just have the paper removed from the entire foam board, and that will work like this. Now the next part is the optional part. In some models or planes, you'll have some optional cuts or places which depends upon your use or your choice. So it depends upon you. Like I have my this simple trainer, and in this tube fuselage, you can have this cut optional. Like if you want to cut this place, I just like the tail of the fuselage a little bit like narrow shaped, so you can have this cut, or it depends upon you. So in this type of things can be there in the plans, or so it depends upon you. On the side of these there are two symbols. The first one is the center of gravity. that will be just indicated in the wings or the middle of the plane where it lies. The center of gravity actually lies on the leading edge 1/4 part, so that will be represented in the plans. The next one is the dimensions. In the plans, somewhere there will be this kind of lines. In between that, there will be a number which will be representing the size of this foam board, or there can be this type of line like a bracket, and beneath that you'll have the dimension. So that is not actually a cut or something, that is the dimension of that specific foam board part. The next one is the dihedral gauge. Now for some planes you'll need to have a dihedral in their wing, and like for the stability, and it's upon your choice, but still I've mentioned the dihedral key in there. Like I've just made this dihedral. So this is a dihedral gauge part, and that depends upon you that you want the dihedral or not. If you want the dihedral, you can just cut this part out like I'm gonna do. So I've cutted the part which will be like placed as a gauge for dihedral. You can just take your wing, and here you just level your wing on one side, and you can place this dihedral gauge on this side, and then you'll have a slight good angle of the dihedral. I just want like 5 degrees of dihedral. More than that will be like, you can go up to a certain value, but for a trainer I like 5 degrees of dihedral. The next one is a throw gauge. I've just included the throw gauge in the dihedral gauge part. Actually I don't want to mess up things and don't want too much pieces, so you can have this piece for a dihedral gauge and also for a throw gauge. That is actually for the calibration of your control surfaces. You can just take your like elevator or rudder part and just put that on it just like this, and then you can just adjust the throw. Like this much will be just good for beginners, and if you want to go more, so there is another line which is 18 degrees. The first one is 13 degrees, and the next one is 18 degrees. So that depends upon you if you want more throw and more sensitive controls. So you can go up to like 20 degrees, but more than 20 will be just excess for this kind of plane, like for trainer planes or beginner. So that was all about the drawing key. I hope you enjoyed that. I know most of it is similar to the flight test. I'm quite impressed with the flight test, so that's why my drawing key mostly resembles to that, and I don't want you people to be confused and with some new stuff. So those who are like used to with the flight test key, most of this one will be also the same for them, and I hope the flight test also don't mind that. Thank you for watching, and please like, share and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.